Hi, my name is Will Powley. I work for MCon Associates. In this video, which should be about 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to teach you how to transform or how to take information from the list of minimum stocking requirements and the list of allowable foods and take information from those two documents and input it into our Google spreadsheets. So in this example, I'm going to do peanut butter. So peanut butter has some space on the list of allowable foods. Peanut butter has some space on the minimum stock requirements. And the question is, how do you take this information and input it into the Google spreadsheet? And it's actually a pretty interesting question because peanut butter, right, there are many different brands and many different specifications, and then the question is how do we input all of this? How do we input all this information into this into the Google spreadsheet such that it makes sense? So let's get started. Okay, so for the minimum stock requirements under peanut butter, it says any brand, one variety, size 18-ounce jar. Okay, so that's pretty self-explanatory. They say any, minimum stock requirements. They say any brand, one variety of peanut butter is okay to hold, and size 18-ounce jar. Okay, now on the list of allowable foods, the amount, they say number of jars listed on WIC check, size is jars up to 18 ounces, brand is any brand. And then they give us a list of things where it says do not buy these, and then they give us a list of things where it says okay to buy. So the question is, what do we do? Well, let's start with company. Okay, so we look at this data and we say, okay, is there anything that tells us really what company would make the peanut butter? And so we say, well, not really, because on the minimum stock requirements it says we can buy any brand, and on the list of allowable foods it says we can buy any brand. So what we do then is we go over to brand and we write any brand. And the reason we write this is because it matches any brand, any brand. Okay, so under brand we write any brand. Company we can just leave blank because we don't know the associated company associated with any brand. I mean, it's lots of companies. And division, it's lots of divisions associated with any brand. Okay, so now we move on to the next thing. Product type. What type of product type? Okay, so we're talking about peanut butter. So we say peanut butter. Okay. Now description. So this is a little bit tricky. So here it says any brand, one variety, size 18-ounce jar. So that doesn't really tell us anything about description, right? Other than that it's peanut butter. Okay. So now we come over here to the list of allowable foods, and we've got amount, size, brand. Doesn't really tell us anything about description. Do not buy doesn't really tell us anything about description. So we go to okay to buy, and it says crunchy, extra crunchy, creamy or smooth, whipped, all natural, regular, low salt or reduced salt, honey roasted, regular, low sugar or reduced sugar. So now basically all of those things tell us, all of those things are a description of the type of peanut butter, right? So we're actually going to write all of those things with commas into the description. So everything down here from okay to buy on the list of allowable foods, we're going to write all of this into the description because all of these things are describing the type of peanut butter that are okay to buy. So let's begin. So we've got crunchy, comma, extra crunchy, comma, and it's really important to put commas in between these things because they're all descriptors of the type of peanut butter. Creamy, comma, smooth, comma, whipped, comma, all natural, comma, regular, comma, low salt, comma, reduced salt, comma, honey roasted, comma, regular. That's now being listed twice, but it's okay. Low sugar, comma, reduced sugar. And so it's really important that we put commas in between each of those things. Okay, so now that's description. So we took everything from okay to buy, because they were all descriptors of the type of peanut butter, and we put it into description. Okay, now let's move on to the next thing. Form. Well, form is like, basically for milk, right? Form would be powder, fluid, etc. In this case, there's only really one form of peanut butter, right? It's just the peanut butter that's in the jar, and you take it out with a knife. So there's only one type of form, so we leave it blank. Now size. Okay, well, how do we get size? The information, so minimum stock requirements tells us size 18-ounce jar. List of allowable foods tells us jars up to 18 ounces. So here we have 18-ounce jar, here we have up to 18 ounces. So we go with the thing that's more specific. So we say 0 to 18. And you'll notice size is always in ounces, so we can just write 0 to 18, we don't have to write the units. Okay, now container. So this says jars up to 18 ounces, and so on the list of allowable foods it says jars up to 18 ounces, and on the minimum stock requirements it says 18-ounce jar. So the container is going to be jar, right, because it's jar in both places. Okay, UPC. Well, we don't know the UPC yet, because those are the universal product codes for the individual products. And here we have a description of several products. So we don't know the UPC yet. Okay, minimum stock requirements. Well, so we look at this, we look at the item minimum stock requirements, and does it say anything about the minimum stock requirements? Well, yes, it says one variety. So, okay, so here it's on the minimum stock requirements, it says one variety. Well, do we get any information about what the minimum stock requirements are from the list of allowable foods? We look through, it says amount, size, brand, do not buy, okay to buy. We look through do not buy, and there's nothing that really tells us about minimum stock requirements. We look through okay to buy, nothing that really tells us about minimum stock requirements. And amount, size, brand are all irrelevant to minimum stock requirements. So the only thing that's really relevant is one variety, and that's written on minimum stock requirements. So we write one variety. Okay. Now, for additional considerations, we say do not, so additional considerations, we say do not buy, right? We look at this and we say, okay, it's telling us all these things do not buy, and so we should put that in additional considerations. So we write not allowed in all caps, underline, okay, and now it's added flavoring, comma, honey, comma, jelly, comma, squeeze tubes, comma, reduced fat, comma, spreads, comma, organic, comma, other nut butters, including, open parentheses, including almond butter or cashew butter. Close parentheses. Okay, so now we look at it and we say, okay, well, do we have any questions? And so we say, okay, well, all of this data got covered, we understood it pretty well. All of this data got covered, we understood it pretty well. The do not buy, that all went into additional considerations. The okay to buy, that all went into description. So basically everything's covered and we don't have any questions, so we leave the questions blank. But in the event that we didn't understand something, or if we left something out, that's where we might put it into questions, because it's like, well, where does this go? We don't really understand it, so put that into questions, and then we'll come back to it. Or actually, you'll come back to it you'll bring it to your team leader according to the process that's described in the conversion converting minimum stock requirements and list of allowable foods to Google Spreadsheet video. So anyway, that's how you convert list of allowable foods and a minimum stock requirements to the Google Spreadsheet. And that's an example, and the example we used was once again peanut butter. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much.